All right, are we ready to go? Okay, let's go ahead and get started today, guys. I want to thank you guys for joining today. My name is Adam Corey. I'm the founder of ThermoGrid. And recently, in the last month, I reacquired ThermoGrid. I had a lot of customers reach out to me and basically kind of let me know where they're at, some of the things they're looking for, even while I was gone from ThermoGrid, from selling it to ECI. So based on some of the conversations that took place and some of the conversations I had with ECI, that's what made it possible for me to reacquire the software. And I just have to say that during this time off, I had a lot of time to think and brainstorm and think about what I could do to help contractors get to a whole new level. In this time that I was off, I was a little bored, didn't really know what to do, received about 16 certifications the day after, basically, of my retirement that I had. And I started up a construction company. It actually started out as a real estate company, went into construction where we do HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roofing, flooring, drywall, concrete, you name it. I mean, it's everything, home services. And was able to actually use a different software in that time it was very painful to use. I really wanted to use ThermoGrid, but um, at time I figured out where two other softwares really had challenges being able to really help me with my business. And I was able to kind of see things that would be really nice if ThermoGrid had it on how to manage all of those different verticals within the company and help me scale in a whole new way. So I took the opportunity to come back. It's been great. I've had a lot of opportunity to talk with a lot of you guys that have been with us for quite some time. And I'm really looking forward to this because during this time of figuring out, some of the things that could help improve the contractors with just their time management, with their profitability, with their ability to scale and grow to new levels, um, it it really helped me figure out the ways that we can actually make this happen within our platform. I did have the opportunity to work with one of the first companies to become a billion-dollar organization in the HVAC, plumbing, and electrical verticals. And I also had the opportunity to work with another company that we were able to scale basically from zero to $100 million in about a year. So that's what kind of got me excited to come back to this, because to me, the way I look at it is this is a platform that should manage the day to day and should help you basically stay on track, because there's so many moving parts in business. There's so many reasons why companies fail and struggle to get to the next level of their organization. And I saw it many times before, and that's why I did the Rise coaching to help people get to that next level. But through this, I was able to come up with so many new ideas to really, really break through that. So I'm excited to come back. Again, thank you for joining. Today, we're going to have a few speakers, such as myself. We have Corey, Logan, and Travis. And each of those individuals are the leaders within departments within ThermoGrid. They've been with me from basically the beginning. And I know they're excited for the change that we've taken here in the last 30 days or so as well. And we're really excited to share with you what the roadmap looks like for ThermoGrid, where we're going, and how it's going to impact you in a very, very positive way. So again, thank you for joining, and I'll pass it off to the next one.
Thank you, Adam. And I am the next one. So thanks for hearing me out here and let me go first. And thank you for the introduction. So basically, I will talk about here the agenda and looking at the agenda of what we're just going to go over today. So I'll be talking first. I'll be talking about the roadmap and what's going on and what's happening there. After that, Logan will be talking about customer service improvements, training and implementation, and Corey will be talking about some of our future communications and with a spotlight on finance. Just a really quick note that, I know you're here on the webinar. If you do have any questions, comments, concerns, there is a little QA button on the bottom middle bar of like your Zoom or somewhere nearby, depending on which version of Zoom you're using. After I'm done speaking, I'll be monitoring the QA and while the other guys are talking. So if you have any questions about anything we're talking about, I'll do my best to either respond on this meeting to you, or if we need to follow up anyway, whatever, we can do all that. So I will go ahead and get started talking about my part with the roadmap. So first and foremost, we're working on stabilization and bug fixes. So I think anybody here on this meeting, kind of during the transition, especially from the ECI being back to, independently owned ThermoGrid, there was definitely some outstanding bugs, definitely a list of things that we wanted to work on and things that you guys were reporting, things that we were saying, hey, this is an issue, or there's an issue here. I'll even specifically call out, we were having some QuickBooks syncing issues with taxes and things like that. And those things were either stalling, kind of getting fixed at the end with our ECI time, or just kind of part of the transition, while we were kind of just regaining control of everything. Things were kind of sitting out there a lot longer than we like it to. We like to normally address these things pretty quickly. So for the immediate time right now, we are working on just stabilization and bug fixes. That one we didn't want to have ThermoGrid be saying, hey, here we are, new ownership, we're excited, whatever. We have all these bugs just hanging out. And so right now, that's been our focus. We've been working on that, since September, and we're continuing to work on it more. And anything that pops up, we're just trying to take care of anything critical. So if there's anything that you feel like we're not either addressing or whatever, again, feel free to reach out. With things change, obviously we're doing things as quickly as we can. Can't do everything at once, but we're doing as much as we can. But that just kind of know that it is our focus right now to make sure that we are stable and have as little messing with our system as we can because of the bugs. So identify and resolve critical bugs and issues. That's the first bullet I have here, and that's very, very much what we've been working on the last month. Anything else to refactor any legacy code and causing inefficiencies. So essentially what I'm trying to say there is if there's something that's causing ThermoGrid to be slow in certain places because we just need to update the backend or do any updates to the code, that just makes it slower than we need to be. That is absolutely something we've been working on. And that looks to address a lot of things I think people have reported the logout issues where it seems like it logs you out more than it needs to. That stuff we're looking at, we're updating, and hopefully, should be able to resolve a lot of those issues that have been sitting out there for a while for you. And just kind of the last bullet on this page, just run extended testing to ensure smooth operation. And yeah, we just have to test everything we do when we do new releases, when we do new things that come out. That we don't cause more bugs or more issues than we've just fixed. So definitely some big focuses of ours. And again, if you guys have questions or if you've done any of the QA things while I'm talking about this, if you're saying, hey, what about this one? What about this one? I'll answer those when my turn to talk is over. So feel free to go ahead and ask me that and I'll respond to you guys. But that's what we're working on right now. Another thing we're working on at the moment here, get my page to switch. Logan, do you just mind moving this for me? It's not going for me. There we go. Thank you. The next item on here is automated customer reviews. So this has been a feature that has been asked for a long time, and we were looking for the right partner. We have a partner with an automated review company to get reviews from all major review sites. So, you can go from Google, Yelp, Facebook. Those are the examples that kind of come to mind really easy for me. It is a review aggregator. So it basically collects all your reviews in one dashboard, one spot, and then you can send your review via here, and you can actually see how you're doing, how your company's doing, where they're doing, for technician, how they're doing, and as well as what source gives you the best reviews too. Hey man, we keep getting 1-star reviews from Yelp, but we keep getting 5-star reviews from Google. Yeah, there's definitely something to learn and know, and so we're basically providing that information for you. You can request the reviews via email or text. And again, we have a dashboard view for that. And again, and in ThermoGrid, we have that tied to the technician status as the trigger. So in ThermoGrid, if they say we're on site, we're closed, we're resolved, you can basically say, if we have this status of the technician, we're going to send this review. And perfect. And there are certain protections in place that prevent you from sending 10 reviews all at once. So just so you know. And what that looks like, I actually have a screenshot of the dashboard here. That's essentially that's what it is. So like if you can kind of see down below where it says Google, Facebook, Yelp, total reviews, overall rating, total requests. It's really in depth. It gives you a lot of information regarding your reviews and how reviews are coming in, and then you can see how you're doing today, how you're doing overall, what's your annual volume, what's a monthly synopsis, and you can even do some custom reports too. And this is who we partnered with. The company's called Shout About Us. They've been really great to work with, and really excited to be pushing this out. And this one could actually be a little bit sooner than later. We're actually even meeting with them this week to talk about the next steps. So we're very close with this one. So I'm pretty excited to roll this one out. And then further down the roadmap, efficiency improvements. And so this is different from the bugs and all the things I was talking about on the first slide. Efficiency improvements really means, I think it even touches on what Adam said at the beginning of this meeting, was we really want to focus on and work on things that make your life easier, managing your business easier. So if there's something that we have in the process that we say, this is too many steps, this is too many unnecessary things to do, we're definitely looking at how to make this smoother, easier, quicker, and just streamlining the issues. And I do have streamlining any calls and jobs to the calendar as my first bullet, but it does go a lot further than that. It goes to like, what's after that, right? So if there's any office admins on this call listening, or any administrators, or anybody who like sends their stuff to QuickBooks, like, you know, of those steps that you do, where we feel like there's too many, where we feel like maybe unnecessary buttons, unnecessary what statuses or whatever, that's all stuff that we're reviewing and we're putting into place, just ways to make that easier, smoother, and quicker. So on top of that too, there's automatic scheduling and easier syncing and job costing. So I know I just referred to that, but yeah, we know that just in some places there's more steps than we want it to be. So we want to make it simpler, streamlined, and just easy, and really easy to understand. So that's what'll be further on the roadmap. And even further down on the roadmap is AI tools. So AI has always kind of been like a joke in a way that like AI fixes this, AI fixes this. Or if you ever go to like a trade show, like you see there's like a trade show, like Software Corner where we often hang out, there's all these like new companies that do AI this, AI this, this, and it's always very like small things, but they have AI do it for them, which is it's very neat. I'm not trying to say anything bad about those companies, but what happens is like they're basically using AI as a tool to do a function and making a whole software out of it. And I think that's really neat. But you know, when you do that, it's not like a full, like a holistic type of thing. It's just you make it an object to do an item. So I would always make this joke of like, hey, I have a pen. Sell me this pen. And I'll say, it has AI. And I would usually get a laugh about that because it's kind of silly. But the reality is that when you use the tool right, it's wonderful. It's amazing. And what we kind of are looking to use it for is something I've used personally, like a diagnostic assist in the field. So we're in the field, we're trying to figure out what to do. We can sometimes call the office, call a manager, call the lead, call whoever we need to call if we need help. But I will say I have a well on my property, and my well provides water for 3 of my neighbors. So I'm in charge of water for 4 houses, myself, mine included. And it was a Sunday night at like 11 p.m. or no, it wasn't that late because the store was still open, but like it was late enough. It was like probably 7 or 8, and my water stopped working, and I didn't know what to do because my neighbors were going to be all mad Monday morning, or even sooner than that they didn't have water. I did not have anybody available from like the local technicians, the local well companies that were available because it was Sunday night, and I felt kind of stuck. So I decided to go out and look at my well, and I said, I don't know what to do. I pulled up AI on my phone, which is ChatGPT, and I said, how do I fix this? And wouldn't you believe it? I walked through the steps, told me how to open things, told me what panel to look for and what spot to look at and why. Because we live in Iowa. It was super hot, super humid at the time, and it was running a lot because again, it does 4 houses. And we were able to find like the panel lid where it had the switches on it, and obviously, and I could see where the thing was broken. I ran to Menards. If you have Menards, it's kind of your equivalent of Home Depot or whatever. $70 later, all 4 houses had water again, and I used AI to figure that one out. I know nothing about wells, But now I feel like I'm an expert. But that's a tool that, really gets you thinking, like, this is a good tool. This is good to use in the field, especially just for help on figuring these things out. And it worked for me. And it does work for a lot of other people too. And if we can use it to kind of, I don't know how many times I'm on a phone call with some sort of HVAC business owner and their phone rings 12 times a minute because it's technicians in the field asking questions. So it seems like a way to help resolve that, help make that a little bit easier for some people. And that's one way I'm really excited about this for. Another one is updated catalog pricing. We for any of us that have used the service catalog in ThermoGrid and manage it, being able to take just basically your Excels that you get from your suppliers, upload it in ThermoGrid, prices are updated. It takes a minute. I was playing with that a little bit myself. And it seems to work really well. I really enjoy that. And then last but not least on this one that we're kind of looking at ways of using it is the customer communication notes. And this is just kind of another one where I talk to office administrators where they say, yeah, we don't let certain people or our technicians write the customer facing notes because they're usually pretty basic. We usually rewrite them in the office and send it out. Well, this is a way that this can help a lot too, where we can actually say, hey, we'll use this tool. We'll make this customer facing. We'll make it friendly. We can digest what you guys are typing in and make it very appropriate for customers to see and really help us out. And so that's one of the ways we use this too. Very simple, but very effective. So that's an item on the roadmap as well. And my last slide, the return of the mobile app. So I'm very excited for this. The mobile app has been greatly missed. The mobile app, we do know that it had, before it was decided to be turned off for a little bit, it was having some syncing issues for some companies, and it was kind of, it was stressful, a little bit of a struggle, but because of time and resources before, it just kind of ended up saying, hey, we don't have the resources to fix this. And this was during our ECI time. And that was the solution. Obviously, we know that's caused a lot of stress, a lot of pain for certain people, where in the field, it's just much better to use the mobile app because we need the offline mode or we need the functionality that it has. So we know we're very excited to bring this back kind of better than ever. And we're bringing it back into the Play Store, improve syncing. And that bullets here is just for that reason, is that was kind of some of the struggles we had before, was just some of the syncing with some of the companies. And it wasn't like a universal 100% of the companies were having certain problems. It was just kind of certain situations for certain types of companies. But it was kind of, the decision was made. But we're all happy to bring it back. I can say that. And then again, enhanced field technician experience in the field. The mobile app is not meant to do administrative stuff in the field. It's meant to do field technician things in the field. Said that right. And that's exactly what it's for, just to make the field technician's job a lot easier. And that's it. So, and we are anticipating bringing the mobile app back in Q1 is really what we're saying. So, the rest of this year, we'll write it out. Hopefully in the beginning of the year, next year of 2025, it'll be back, good new look. And we've really focused on just making sure it syncs, even with the offline mode, back to the office perfectly. So that is my time. And I thank everyone for listening to me. I will pay attention to the Q&A now and hand it off to Logan.
Awesome. Thank you, Travis. I appreciate it. All right. So some of you may know me already. If you don't, my name is Logan Lester. I am the Implementation and Solutions Consultant here at ThermoGrid. As Adam said, we've been together since essentially the beginning. With that, my goal is to make sure that all of your documentation, all of your issues, all of your questions, all of your training needs are taken care of here. So we're going to go through a few things pertaining to our support. We're going to go through a few things pertaining to training, document management, all of the different new tools that we're going to have for you guys. So one of the first things we'll talk about here is some of the customer service enhancements that we've done. So we took a long time to sit down and look at our process right now for customer service, from what it was at ECI, from what it was previous to that as well. And we really want to bring the heart and soul back to it here. So we took some time to sit down and look through a lot of different platforms that we felt like were going to give us the results that we were looking for and gave you guys the best experience that was possible. So we ended up finding something that is working very, very well. It allows you guys to go directly into the system, to add a ticket, to add a support question, to directly talk to us, whatever you need to do. And I'm sure you've noticed those little buttons down there. We'll talk about that further if you haven't. But what this allows us to do is introduce a system where you can just add real-time tickets. We instantaneously get updates and notifications for these. We'll instantly be able to get you back notifications or data on these, notes on these, whatever you guys need here. And it just provides one centralized system where I have my implementation processes, my training processes, all the support data, everything that we need into one system. Nothing's going to fall through the cracks. Everything's going to be consistently managed and have statuses. So it's an easy way for you guys to even get in there and take a look at this as well. And we'll talk about that a little bit further here. So as I said, you guys will have full visibility and control on this. The moment that you create a ticket, or that maybe even we create a ticket for you, it's going to give you a notification that you'll either be able to sign up or you'll be able to sign into the system. Initially, if you haven't used it before, there will be a sign up option. It's very simple. All you're going to do is type in your name and you're going to create a password for it. And then you're going to instantaneously be able to see all of your support tickets that we have in progress. As it says here, you'll have full visibility control. You'll be able to review statuses. You'll be able to send updates to this. You'll be able to upload any documentation. Perhaps you have a screenshot of something that you want to show us. Maybe you ran into a little hiccup somewhere and you're like, what is this? How do I do this? Feel free to ask in chat, but you can also create a ticket and we can walk you through that as well with possible training if necessary. So as you guys see here, it's just an easy way to update everything, tracks your progress on there. It really streamlines the process of that communication, because let's say that I'm in today, I start your ticket, we're not able to take care of it till tomorrow. Travis can easily see it, Corey can easily see it, anybody in the company can easily see that this has a due date on it and we need to follow up with the customer. So it's a very simple system and very powerful system for us to do this. So how do we use this? Very easily. All we're going to do is use the little button down in the right hand of the screen here. I'm sure you've all noticed this before. It's going to pop up for you and we'll be able to just tap directly on that. Once we tap on that button, it's going to pop up with a simple little object here, and you'll see that in a second. And that's going to let you type in any questions that you have. Now, this won't directly create a ticket right off the bat. What this is going to do is search our database, our knowledge center. And when you search that, you'll have documentation. I'm creating a lot of that documentation right now. Currently, you're most likely using our help center, which is the wiki. This is made so that you can easily search and find exactly what you're looking for. I know that the wiki has some areas where it could be updated, and we're making sure to update all of that into our new system here so you can easily find exactly what you're looking for. And again, this will be real-time updates. It'll be no longer where we have anything I guess being dated in that system. So it's just a quick way for you guys to start that process, create your tickets, or do whatever you need to do. As you see here, once you ask that or access that, you'll be able to ask questions. You'll be able to request training. You'll be able to submit files to us as well. If you're in the process of implementation, this is a great way for you to send in data to us. If you have a client list, if you have new updated pricing, if you have a new user list that you want put in the system or anything of that nature, anytime you have data and you want to apply it to ThermoGrid and you're not quite sure how to do so, you'll easily be able to submit that file, put a note on it and say, hey guys, I would like this put into my system. I have a new supplier, perhaps. I would like this added to my system. We will be able to schedule time to discuss that with you on how you want that organized. We'll be able to work with that easily, and then you'll get an update exactly when it gets completed on there, and you'll be able to see it in the system. So it's really just meant to streamline this entire process, whether you are in training, whether you are in implementation, whether you are just looking for support. It's all available right there for you. So what does some of that new training look like? What do our new documents entail here? These new documents are going to be training guides. These guides will be as simple sometimes as just having a new technician maybe log into the system and start using the system. You don't want to train them right off the bat. You want us to train them. That's fine. We can schedule time. They can learn on their own though. Right here, we can download documentation. They can walk through that documentation step by step by step and just make sure that they're educated in using ThermoGrid, because the more they feel confident with the system, the better it's going to be for the entire experience for not only them, but the entire team, the entire company here. These different workflows that we have, these different objects that we have in the system, how are they used? How do we walk through as a technician and actually do our job? That could be different for every single company that we work with. For a company who's doing sales versus service, maintenance versus, large scale projects, all of that can look different, and we allow you to customize that. So we want to make sure that we can educate our technicians on how they will be walking through the system. Now, we could customize this process for you and create your own documents as well, but our standard documents will be available for you to download, for you to search, for you to review, and everything is again in that one place. So we don't have to worry about how do I get this information. It's going to be right there for you. So as I said, it's very easy to access those documents, but you'll even be able to view and download these. So when you are searching for any of these documents, you're going to be able to find those answers that you need and not only have it right there, but if you want to save it directly to your computer. Save it inside of a ThermoGrid folder. I recommend everyone has a ThermoGrid folder on their machine. So that way we can save any documentation, any backups, client lists, new things that you want to add to the system, or perhaps training documents, organizational data, anything that you'd like in here or anything you're looking for to use in the future can easily be downloaded from this portal, anything that's relevant to you. As far as training is concerned, we really want to focus on ensuring that everyone on the team knows exactly not only how to use the system, but what they can do in the system. So you may have certain processes right now and things are working very well and you like your process, but maybe we want to branch out a little bit. We do plan on having possible weekly training sessions where we go over specific features and things of that nature, where people could join just like this. We all get on, we talk about it, we talk what we can do with it. Maybe some companies are already using it and looking to utilize it further. Maybe some companies haven't touched it at all and they're just like, how do we get into this? How do we start talking about this? Or how do we, use this to better our business? So all of that training will be available on this once we complete it. And also if we need to do one-on-one's completely fine here. As you can see, we can chat back and forth just like this. I've set up meetings with probably some of you before, and we've talked just about business acumen and what we want to do to better things and easily manage our business. So that being said, a lot of this will come down to your feedback. We want to know how we're doing at all times. We want to make sure that you're having a great experience, that everything that we do is meaningful for you. And one of the best things we can do is just ask you that question. What is it that you need from us? What don't we have right now? What do you think could be better? What do you love about us? What do you, want to make sure that you have for support in the future? And we are going to send out surveys consistently. We want to make sure that we get feedback from you, and these surveys work very, very easily. The second that you fill them out, I get to review it, and most likely we'll do a quick contact back, talk about some of the things. If there is any issues or concerns that you have, we'll reach out right away way. Maybe we'll make a ticket in the new system so we can get taken care of whatever you're looking for on there. But look for these surveys, because the more data you can give us, the more information that you can give us, the better it's going to be in the future. So I want to ensure that everybody knows that those will be coming through, and just take a quick look for them. A lot of times all it's going to be here is a simple maybe yes or no, or a little more details. Maybe there's an other or more notes option in there, and you can just give us feedback. We're always looking for that feedback just so we can make everything the best we possibly can for you. So that being said, all those features and improvements that we're looking for is just all about your experience, ensuring that you guys get everything that you need to manage your business in the best way possible. And if there's anything else, always feel free to reach out directly to support. You can always still call us. You can always still email us. These are just easy ways for you guys to walk through that process of actually adding a support call, training, or just general information. So I really appreciate it. I'm glad everyone showed up today, and I am going to be passing on to Corey here, and he's going to talk about some of our other new projects, as well as some cool financing options that we're going to have here. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Logan. Yeah, as Logan mentioned, I am Corey, and I'm happy to inform everyone we actually created a YouTube channel where we're going to be posting weekly, monthly videos on that channel, going over not only our existing features, but also features that we'll be releasing here in the near future. Excuse me. Now, with that said, we're looking forward to training you and your team members on how to use these features, but also having that conversation on how these will impact not only you and your company, but also impact your clients. Now, with that said, we're going to be going over our financing feature today. So how can financing impact your business? Multiple ways. So it's going to reduce those price objections, as customers are more likely to commit to financing options to purchasing from you. When that cost is spread over time, they're looking at that monthly payment. It seems more affordable to them, as they're looking at a $300 per month versus, hey, 10 grand now and 10 grand after the job. It's also going to expand your company base by enabling customers without that immediate cash, enabling them to buy from you now that they have that credit available, therefore expanding the potential buyer pool within your company. It's also going to produce a higher sales value. It's going to lead to higher ticket averages. Customers will feel more comfortable buying expensive items or services when those payments are spread out. It's also going to allow you to close those deals faster. Reducing that cost barrier with attractive financing offers will make the customers less likely to delay those purchasing decisions. It's also going to give you that competitive edge, very important. You offering financing over your competitor is huge. It's a critical advantage, especially in industries with high ticket products or services, such as the HVAC, plumbing, and electrical industries. But don't take our word for it. We have examples. So for the home improvement side of things and contracting, it's going to increase your average ticket size up to 50%, as customers will choose whole home solutions, replacement versus a patchwork job until, get me by through next year, if you will, or, replacement roof versus a patch job of that roof. For the HVAC industry specifically, it's going to boost your average ticket up to 60%, as customers will more likely want to move forward with that, 96% efficient furnace versus an 85% efficient, as those payments are spread over time. For the holistic service options, now they have access to that credit, so it can raise your ticket average up to 100%. So I was at a car dealership 2 weekends ago, and the first question that they asked me, where are you looking for your monthly payment to be? Now, I didn't like that question. I don't even think I answered him when he asked, but looking at some data here, and I was pretty surprised when I pulled this up, and certainly wanted to show you this here. So when's the last time you went to buy a home with straight cash, or went to buy a new truck, van, car, whatever it may be, with 50, 60K in your pocket? It doesn't happen too often, but it does happen. So for home purchases, those are done. Consumers are taking out a loan 66% of the time. New vehicle purchases, 71%. But check this out. For HVAC new system installs, when offered a financing option, they're moving with that option, the financing, 80% of the time. How can we help? Well, proud to announce that we have partnered with Wise Tech Financing. We made it extremely easy for you to sign up. You can actually do it directly within your ThermoGrid account, and with the best, better, good, you are able to display what the monthly payment would be for your clients. So, top hand side of your ThermoGrid account, you're clicking on the cogwheel. From there, you're going under the finance option, selecting create account, and then from there, it's going to take you to WiseTech's website where you can go ahead and sign up for financing. And in return, you'll win more bids out in the field, raise that ticket average, and overall become more profitable as a company. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to Adam, I believe.
Thanks, team. Appreciate your help today on this, and definitely gotta say with the financing that Corey was just talking about. You know, when I was in the HVAC world where things kind of started, I was a service technician. I installed and started getting into the point where I would go out and sell the new equipment and install it. And I have to say that offering that financing was the most impactful thing that I was able to do, because and it's tough. You know, the national averages for closing ratios in heating and cooling, plumbing, electrical, in the service industry is typically less than 30%. And if it's a marketing type way of reaching your customers, it's going to be more like 15%. So we know that referrals and those types of things will close significantly higher. But if you're getting to the point that you're a company that wants to grow and scale, you have to use marketing to be able to do that. It's just too tough to get referrals to grow 150% year over year over year. Not everybody has those types of goals, but breaking through those plateau barriers is what helps companies get to the point that they can easily sustain. Because when you're an owner and you're still hands-on, going out and doing sales estimates, going out and doing service work or doing installs, then you can't really focus on the company. And you're really just an employee of your company. So knowing how to get yourself past those plateaus, which typically is going to be the $1 million mark, the $3 million mark, the $6 million mark, and at 15 million, those are probably the biggest plateau areas that companies will face. It's a struggle to get out of them and past them. And it's because it takes a lot of really foresight in knowing just the little mechanical pieces of what to expect. Because if somebody does it wrong and they grow outside of that and they didn't lay that foundation properly, that's when they get to a point that they've reached 15 million maybe. And then the next year they're at 12 million, and then 7 million, and then even 3 million. I've seen that time and time again, because you really have to have a nice structure on it. And being able to offer things like financing, I think that usually if you've gotten to the point that you're 15 million, you're probably already offering it. But again, it's just one of those elements that has to be within the business to have a nice solid foundation. So, you know, for me, I've been in every position of the business. I've been in many businesses. So, you know, I've done the heating and cooling side. I got to the point that when I was in the sales position, my last 3 years in sales, I was at 83%. And 80% of the leads that I ran were marketed leads. These are the leads that we get off the internet, Facebook, direct mail campaigns, the ones that usually the closing ratio is really small. Usually what I hear from contractors that have those types of leads coming in is that they don't like them. They complain about them. They say that, oh, those customers, the only thing they care about is the price. They're always calling 3 people. That's what they're going to choose. And it's not true at all. 80% of my leads that I ran as a sales rep were those marketed leads, the leads that nobody else wanted. Why would I run those? Because the company that I worked for at that time, if we had a tech lead, so a technician went out, they found a cracked heat exchanger or something along those lines, and they kicked it over to me. If I sold that, I had to give away 3% of my commission as a sales rep to the technician that generated it. That was a way for them to make a lot more money as a technician. So I got to the point that I didn't want to give away my money. I didn't want to give away my commission. So what I focused on is figuring out, how do I get a sales process so good that I could have a very high closing ratio on those types of leads? And it took a lot of psychology. It took a lot of like processes that I put together to make it where as long as I did the exact same thing every single time, I had consistency, I had a process of success. That's what got me to that 83% closing ratio my last 3 years in sales. I was able to go 3 months in a row at 100%. It was very tough. It was very stressful to do it because I just didn't want to, lose any customer. But it is possible, is my point. And one of the things that I wanted to do when I left, working with ThermoGrid and ECI after that acquisition, is I did start up a construction company. And really what I wanted to prove with myself and in getting into real estate was actually my main objective, because real estate is the largest industry in the world. And it's can be one of the most successful and profitable industries to get into. So that's why I wanted to get into it. I wanted the really big upside. And one of the things that I found out while I was getting into this industry was it's very, very costly. Every time I bought a property, I had to use my cash. I had to use at least $40,000 of my cash to acquire this property that was going to generate me typically about $500 a month net profit. That's $6,000 a year. That's it. So when you do the math on that, my ROI investment wise is still pretty good. I'm probably getting maybe a 15% ROI. Not terrible. But when you look at cash going out to get that ROI, you have a cap. You only have so much cash to be able to acquire these properties. So what I did is I started brainstorming and thinking new ways that I could turn it into faster return on investment, a lot more money. And what I found out is I could actually bridge this real estate company into a construction company that did all of those services that I talked about in the beginning, where it's roofing, siding, windows, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, flooring, drywall, concrete, you name it. Like, we do everything. And we were able to get to the point that now when I acquire a property, so like think about this, if you were to go out and get a rental property, you can get yourself a rental property or a land contract property that will generate you maybe $1,000, maybe even more net profit per month. And not only do I generate that revenue every month, but I was able to figure out a way to get rid of that down payment. So I don't have to put a down payment now. I'm not losing my cash of $40,000 every month or right away when I buy this property. And I got to the point that I've been able to actually net profit $50,000 upfront by acquiring a new property, $1,000 a month, and then I'm going to get the upside of the property gaining value at the end, where now I'm able to sell the property for a lot more. As an example, I have a property that I had no money down. I generated $6,000 a year net profit on it, and then I was just able to sell it and make $75,000 net profit on it after 2 years. A building I bought last month, 30 days ago, basically, I was able to resell it and make $100,000 net profit in 30 days. No money down. So business is business. And it's like, for me, it's one of those things that I always want to answer the question, like, how can I make this more successful than what others have done or what others have coached me on doing? That's what I did in the HVAC world. That's what I did in the real estate world. It's been very kind of lucrative and in a very good way of diversifying as a business owner. But these are some of the same principles that we've been coaching on at Rise Coaching, which is paired up with ThermoGrid for many, many years. When I started out in the industry, I was working for a company that was losing $250,000 a year. And the owner came to me and said, "Hey, I'm either going to have to close the doors because we're about ready to have it where our cash flow doesn't keep us in business anymore." And what I mean by cash flow is it's like it's enough that you have enough money coming in, you continually are paying off the bank, but you're still losing and you're still digging a hole. So he said either somebody else needs to take over GM or we're closing the doors. And I said, you know what? I've done the install side, I've done the service side, I've done the sales side. I was sales manager, I was operations manager. I'll take over the general manager side. I don't know what to do, but I'm going to figure it out. And I did take a ton of classes and I've read a lot of books. And to me, it's all about the numbers. Everything can mathematically work out. And if it doesn't, it's not right. So I mathematically worked out the equation. And when I took over, it was probably May, and that company had already dug a $95,000 hole. By the end of that same year, we hit double-digit profitability. So not only did I cover up that $95,000 loss, but I was able to hit that double-digit profitability the first time that that company had ever done it. That company had grown to be the largest company in the Des Moines area. And it's all based on a formula. It's a formula on how to do communication. It's a formula on how to sell. It's a formula on how to be offering more, like Corey said, those holistic options where it's not just a furnace. Because the furnace is part of a system. It's not the system. The system is a furnace, a coil, the ductwork modifications, the thermostat, the condenser, the line set, the disconnect, the whip, the pad, everything. And we have those same things in a lot of other verticals. So being able to offer things as a package, a full system that you know that you can warranty it, where the customer will not have any challenges in this. And if there is, it's all covered under warranty. Being able to offer that and offer that monthly payment is what makes it easy for customers to make the right choice. And we've been able to do it where if you do the right thing, if you know how to do static pressure testing and balancing and proper installation overall of that system, then you can actually guarantee the utility savings in writing, where a lot of times the utility savings can make the payment for the customer. Now you have a no-brainer option. That's how you get to those closing ratios that I'm talking about. With our RISE coaching, something we've done for a long time is we give business assessments. We'll go through, we will look at a company's financials, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statements. Some of you may be only aware of maybe one of those, but we do the assessment to figure out where is your company? What is the company health that you have? Are you going in the right direction? Are you continuing to move forward? Are you steady? Which means eventually you're going to start falling back. But it's important to know where you're at. We have peer groups where you can meet with other contractors, know what they're going through, how they've been able to overcome challenges, how they've been able to implement some of our best practices. We have an online program you can log into, and basically anytime you hire somebody new, the whole point of doing this was when I was the sales manager, I wanted to make sure that I could hire a new sales rep or a technician or an installer. And when they put in their 2-week notice, because I would hire passive job seekers. I didn't hire people that were unemployed, because a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times they're the unemployable. So we're not just looking for the people that come in, walk in the door because they can't get a job with anybody else. I'm finding those passive job seekers, ones that are at a place, they've been at a company for quite some time, and they're just looking for an opportunity. So our recruiting program that we have in our online program that we train in RISE coaching is a very good way of getting people lined up. It's what I used for my real estate company, my construction company, HVAC company, plumbing company, all of those different businesses. It's a very successful way of finding great people. So we hire the right individuals. They put in a 2-week notice, and I'm like, how do I, instead of making it where day one when they start, now I start training. So now I have at least a 2-week dead time of paying money to train somebody and not gaining any revenue. How do I turn that around? How do I make that profitable as close to day one as possible? So what we did is we would put them in this online program. They would take the course or a certain portion of the course in that 2-week notice period. So when they started on day one, all I had to do was teach them where things were within the facility, how to use the software, and have them go out and run calls right away. So they're producing revenue for me right away. That's what that online program was intended for. So we do have the online program. We have monthly webinars. We have private webinars that are really exclusive opportunities for people to get the one-on-one coaching and ask the questions that maybe they don't feel comfortable asking in larger groups. Or maybe they just feel like they don't want to take the time of other people. But I tell you, I mean, working together in a group and asking those questions will impact everybody in a very positive way, because sometimes the one question you have is the question that a lot of people have, and people just sometimes don't feel comfortable doing it. So I really urge people to ask those questions in group settings, but we do have the private sessions available as well. We do detailed analysis and financial reviews as well. We have phone support, text support, email support. We do online training that's personalized for your company on where you want to go. Our goal when we do on-site training, because it's not a cheap investment in you and your company. It's a large investment. But our goal when we do those on-site trainings is to make it where you gain the profit in the time that we are there. If we're there for 3 days and you've spent $20,000 on that training, that we want you to make $20,000 in that 3 days. So that means everything you make the day after training, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year afterwards is all additional upside for you. So that's something that we've been doing. I've been doing for quite some time, because when I found that magic formula on the sales side of it, and I attended large expos and other companies were hearing about it, I had a company say, hey, come out, just teach my team. And I said, I don't think I'm qualified to come out and teach your team. I don't have anything documented. I don't have processes and procedures. And he said, just come out anyway. And he's like, here's $5,000. Just come out over the weekend. I'm like, And way back then for me, I'm like, $5,000 to come out over a weekend? Cash? Absolutely. And I went out there and I trained him and his technicians, my process. What I did is I just used what was in my head, and I would say word for word what I said with my customers, and they wrote it down. And we were up in the bonus room that he had that was actually a playroom for his kids. And we're sitting at this little tiny table and these little tiny chairs for his kids where they would have tea parties. And that's where we did my first training for another company. And he sent me a message a week later and said, wow, we went from a 40% closing ratio to 65% closing ratio. And our average ticket went from $8,000 to $12,000. He's like, man, this is amazing. This is awesome. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I didn't expect that. I had no idea really what to expect. And it was the best feeling in the world for me that I was able to help another contractor, because what I do know is that contractors work their ass off. And in many cases, it's a struggle to even break even, to make a living. And I just don't think that's right, because as contractors, what we do is in many cases, we're saving lives. We're finding carbon monoxide leaks. We're finding water leaks that can create mold and black mold and everything else. And we're finding things that are overamping. And to me, I think that for us to do that type of work, that hard work, there should be a very big upside to it, because not everybody's willing to do it. And it's a market that is shrinking every day. The more that we create opportunities for our employees, the more that we're going to be able to rebuild this industry and help more people. So this is something that is available to our ThermoGrid users. If you're interested in something like this, we can have a consultation, talk about it. Not everybody can qualify for something like this, because I really have to be sold that the company that I'm working with is truly, truly going to operate from integrity. They're going to do the right thing for their customers. They're going to do the right thing for their employees. Because I'm not looking, I have worked with companies that I go out there and they only care about themselves. They'll go out and buy themselves a $50,000 front door for their house. They'll go out and buy themselves a $50,000 driveway. They'll go out and buy themselves a $50,000 closet, but they won't give back to their team, and they don't take care of their customers. And those are the types of companies that I will not work with. I'm looking for people that are saying, I'm going to give more opportunity. I'm going to make a lot of money. That's fine. That's okay. I've had companies that have made enough money to go out and buy themselves a brand new, largest motorhome I've ever seen in my life. They built a custom home, and they wanted a house with a pond, but they couldn't find land with a pond, so they built their own pond. They've bought airplanes, but what they also do is they're constantly searching for 5-star ratings for their customers. They want to always go above and beyond and take care of their customers. And they offer ways to give opportunities for their employees to grow and get to the next level, and giving bonuses and in other ways for them to be able to have the same type of opportunity and have the same great, significant lifestyle that the owner does. That's what's important to me. So, you know, with my construction company, I did mention that, you know, just in really a year's time, we had the best new contractor award instantly right out of the gates with our ratings and the reviews that we got from our customers. We did win the 2024 Quality Business Award, which takes into account things like satisfaction, services, reputation, quality. We had 100% rating across the board on that. And to me, that's a decision. It's not something that happens by accident. And it's not just about the results. It's about the numbers that I gave you before. $250,000 net profit in a single month on a company that is very new. Most companies would call themselves a startup, and most companies would call themselves a startup for years. And yes, size does typically cause people to say that, but really it's not the size, because there's 4 stages of business. You're forming, you're coming together as a company. You get to the point that you're storming, and everybody's experienced this, I'm very confident, which is where it's kind of like a chaos. You know, everybody's kind of running around with chickens, like with their head cut off, but they have customers coming in. They're making money, and they're growing, but there's no systems and process, so it can be very stressful for some. Some people thrive in it, they love it, but it's hard to get to the next level. It's hard to get past those plateau marks because it is storming. There is no structure, and then you get to the point that you're norming. You start implementing these systems and processes. You have that structure. And sometimes companies will plateau. They might even dip down a little bit because they're really putting the energy and the effort into the systems, the processes, that structure that will help them build the solid foundation, continually build upon that. And then they get to the point that they're performing. And this is where it's like, hold on, because it's going. It's going to scale. It's going to make massive net profits. And everybody on the team knows their role, what they're going to do to help the company as a whole. Because we know that if we're looking at a middle school team, I coach football, I coach wrestling, I like to help out and give back. And you know, 7th grade football, I will tell you that is not a performing team, because you'll have kids that you'll tell them, hey, your job is, you are the defensive end, and you are going to contain, you are going to come out over the side, and you're going to make sure nobody gets outside of you. The cornerback, that's their job too. And then they stand there and the ball moves this way, and they move that way with it without coming around the end. So when they do a reverse, there's nobody there. They didn't do their job. That's a forming, storming type position for that football team. But when you look at the pros know their job. They know where they need to be. They know that as long as they do their job and they count on their team to do their job, that they have all areas of the field covered. That's how it is in business. That's how it is in sports. And it is a choice if you want to get there or not. So I thank you guys for joining us today, to hearing where we're going with ThermoGrid, letting you guys know what feature functionality is coming down the pipelines, and in that spotlight that Corey is going to be putting together each month, and we'll all participate in this, is to be able to let you know what's there too. Because every time I talk to customers that we have within ThermoGrid, there's many times I'll hear them mention something. I'm like, hey, we have that. They're like, you do? I'm like, we've actually had that for many years. That's why we're having this communication now, is to over communicate what we have available, the YouTube channel, the webinars that we're doing, making sure that we post those announcements. Look up in that announcement button that's up there, because we do post things there. Because again, you choose where you are with your company. You choose if you're going to get to the performing state. Thank you again. Have yourself a great day. I appreciate you guys coming out today.